Hello everyone, I'm your host from Research Update Organization and you are watching the video series of clinical research education. You can join our Facebook group and you can subscribe our YouTube channel for the latest update. Also you can join our Telegram app which is Q&A Research Interest Group. We will start our session soon. Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Urvish Patel and I'm going to show you a few details. Three things we are going to cover in today's session. Number one, how you are going to add information in MyEra's application in terms of research experience, number one. Number two, publications. That is one aspect. Second aspect is that we are going to also cover few examples and few mistakes that most of you have committed. I have gone through several CV in the publication specific thing. I'm not expert for anything which is outside the research experience thing. So few mistakes are there. I'm going to show you some mistakes and most important thing which you are going to take care of when you are going to write those experience. And then third part of the session, we are going to quickly cover Q&A from you guys if you are having it. Okay, so yes, again, welcome to our small group. We call it Research Update. And let's start today's session. So whenever you are going to think about adding anything related to the research in your CV, you will have question that what you are going to write in your research experience and what you are going to write in the publication section. Two things are different thing. Okay, so when I'm talking about research experience section, research experience is exclusively when you are going to do it inside the hospital, or whenever you are affiliated with someone and doing some research project with that person for a longer period of time, and you achieve some particular skill, like you are doing some new type of project, retrospective, prospective type of trials, studies or clinical trials, or any similar original project. Whenever you are going to do with anyone, whether you are affiliated in your own institute or whether you are affiliated with some person's institute. So for example, if you are in Mayo Clinic research assistant, then it's very easy for you to write that I'm research assistant in Mayo Clinic, and then these are my responsibility, this is the project I'm doing it, and at the end of the research assistant or postdoc fellow, you learn this are the skill which you learn, right? But if you are doing some project with the resident fellow, their faculties or something, but they are original project, if those projects are original, in that case you can still show them your research associate or remote research associate, and then you are working on several projects, and that projects as a part of your project, you did this things, you submitted your work to the conferences, you submitted your work in a form of manuscript or whatever, and this is something you learn through that experience. Though you are associated with your own school and doing project with someone else, that is also called research. And also if you are going to Mayo Clinic and doing some work, that is also called research. Now, fundamental thing which you need to understand today is, whenever people are asking us that what is the difference, is which section should we choose? Should we choose peer review journal article and abstract? Should we choose poster presentation, or should we choose both categories? So I just want to make a few things clear. Whenever you are publishing your work, research, which we call it research, that are in mainly two form. One is the abstract form, which is, I hope everyone knows what is the difference between abstract and manuscript. But abstract is a small 300 word of document which is a summary of your research project, and one is the manuscript form, which is 3000 word up project, 3000 word up project. So whenever you are talking about manuscript form is a full big length of your project, so that we call it article. So manuscript and article both are same thing. Now whenever you are doing research and writing the small abstract, that small abstract you are either submitting in any conferences, in any conferences, and those conferences, whenever you are going to the conference, you're presenting your work in oral presentation or poster presentation, depend on the conference you present your work, and that thing you put it here. So the peer review conferences, whatever presentation you prepare, these presentation are also peer review. If the conference is peer review, like American Heart Association, American Academy of Neurology, American Psychiatry Association, those conferences are peer review. So whatever you are presenting there in form of oral presentation or poster presentation, those all goes in oral or poster presentation category. Now someone is asking me, those are peer review conferences, those conferences have their own journal, and that journal has supplemental issue where they are publishing this abstract, and that abstract is available online. So why can't we put it in this category? Because this is peer reviewed journal articles less abstract. Can I put that in category, in this category? So my answer is yes, you can put it. No one is going to tell you that, okay, you should not put it in peer review journal article and abstract, which is having second highest value after oral presentation. Each 5,000 projects are submitted to one conference. Out of 5,000, only 1,500 or 2,000 project or maybe 700 projects are accepted at national conference like American Heart Association. From that 1,500, only 10 in each category author are invited for oral presentation speech. So poster, all 5,000 submission depend on grading. Only out of that 1,500 goes to the poster, or maybe less, maybe 1,000 goes to the poster, and from there 5 will be going for myocardial infarction, 5 will be in technology, 5 will be in TAVR, replacement, endoscope, endovascular procedures. So only 555 will be in oral presentation category. So that will go even in your achievement section. If it something is in oral presentation, that can go in other achievement and award section. So basically that time you can put it one here, that is okay. You are still going to present in a poster form, so you can put it in poster category. That is also okay, because you also presented in a poster form, you also presented in oral form. But when you talk about I'm submitting in peer review journal article abstract category, because it is online available, you can do it. But then we will cover, they are asking you volume and issue. So in issue, you will be writing supplement S word, supplemental issue, because always all conference publish their article abstracts, conference abstract in supplementing. So even though if someone who is having a little bit of research experience, by looking at the CV, they can say that this is abstract, this is manuscript. So importance is not in which category you are putting. In the very beginning of the application, they are asking you how many peer review articles or publications you are having it, including journal article, comma, other than published, comma, book chapter, comma, poster, comma, oral, comma, whatever, and you are writing here 6, 5, 7, whatever you are writing. So all peer review have same importance. All peer review, all non-peer review will have its own importance. I'm going to cover that part, but most important part is whether you choose this category. We usually knows whether it's abstract or manuscript. You can put it in any category you wish, but make sure do not put it in multiple categories, same thing. Otherwise people will ask you that, oh, you have, I assume automatically, I assume if same project is, let me clean it up. If same project is in this category in a form of abstract, and same project is here in poster presentation, I will assume that you did abstract, you submitted to the American Heart Association, let's say conference, that come to the supplemental issue of scientific session, which is the name of the journal, for example, associated with the AHA. Then you wrote the manuscript, and then you again send it to AHA, and they accepted it, which is wow. Okay. And then you will be says, no, sir, this is not manuscript, this is just abstract. And then all that excitement will go down. Okay. So do not write 2 times. People are writing 2 times. Do not write 2 times if you have not completed abstract and manuscript both. Ideally, all abstract will go in this category, all manuscript will go in this category. So why they put it slash abstract? Why they put it here also slash abstract? Most important thing, right? So some of the journals are there online which accept abstract, which is like 300 to 500, little bit bigger than conference submission. Conference submission is 200 to 300 word, right? So some of the journals accept the abstract submission in their platform. In that case, it is journal, it is abstract, so you can put it there. There is no problem in that. But that is why they keep it, because we are international community, right? So international community means you are going to have many different countries and different journals which are emphasizing on either abstract or article. That's why they put it here, the abstract. So if you have submitted particular that abstract in particular journal, yes, go ahead, you can do that. Okay. That is all about difference between abstract, manuscript. Do not emphasize more on which category is going. Depend on the category, we will cover it. But important thing is how many are abstract, how many are manuscript, how many abstracts in poster or oral, and that abstract you can put it in either category. Some people choose to put the same abstract in this category. Some people choose to put it in here poster presentation category. Some people choose peer review online publication category, because we will cover that category. You will be requiring the link and few other information which you will be having it. But moral of the story, do not put in all categories, because when I'm looking same topic in 3 different category, means that means you have prepared an abstract, you have prepared a manuscript, and you went to the presentation. That is what I assume. If that is true thing, then you can add it. Okay. Now let's go to the next slide. Okay, so now let's start about our categories one by one. So when we are talking about peer review journal article slash abstract, this category is exclusively for the publication which is already published, and those articles are available right now online for you to see. Okay, so there you are going to have journal's article and title name, which is your topic, right? Now before you add your authors list, just look how they are telling you to write. Do not write anything. Okay, when you are going to see last name comma first initial dot middle initial dot, right? If you don't want to write middle initial, that's okay, but at least you have to follow the format. Last name, let's say if the last name of someone is Shah, then he's writing here Shah, comma, then there is a space. Can you see space? Then first name is, let's say, you, then they put you. After that, there is no space. It's a dot, right? And then if you don't want to put middle name, then it's comma. Then again, not all the time you have to put and. Simple, first time you put it, another time you put it again, let's say third name, fourth name. And if you have, once you reach to the last name, then you put and then last name, and then last name, for example. Now, once you reach to the last name, let me just undo this part. Can you see in the last name, there is no dot? Why? Because they will put dot on behalf of you, because this category finished, they will put dot behalf of you. That's why they are not putting dot there, right? And why this procedure? There is a very complicated procedure, right? You can simply write, let's say like this, right? Why you want to go through this whole hassle of comma and dot and comma and dot? So usually whenever you are putting the publication section in CV or anywhere you cite it, then there are specific method: AMA, AHA, APA, MLA. So these are the different format. So and this system, my era system, is taking for poster presentation and stuff, it's taking APA format, and for other publication it's taking MLA format, right? So this is indirectly, it's a format which they have chosen, but they will tell you to go into Mendeley and convert that into the citation format and then copy and paste. It's going to be super messy. That's why in the backside they will do it for you. You just have to put it in that format, this name. So this is that format. Do not put first author and second author and third author and fourth author. Number one. Number two, do not put your name wherever it is, your name on the top. I have seen CV that they just put one author's name and then everyone's name is empty. No, everyone's name must follow its own order. And this format, APA, MLA, why I'm telling you here, we are not teaching or learning research here, right? But why I'm telling you, because this format is not having anywhere, it's like et al. So some people are asking that, oh, we are having like 15 publication, and can I put et al after 3 or 5 or after my name? No, you cannot put et al here because there is no option of et al in MLA or APA format. You cannot put et al. Okay. And if you have, let's say, 100 publication and still you are tired and you want to put et al, then fix the rule. Either you're putting et al after 3 or 5 or 7. And in that rule, if your number is after 8 somewhere, that does not mean that you have to stretch up to it and then put et al. If you are fixing the rule, then only write after 5 et al everywhere uniformly, because you must maintain the uniformity. Make sense? That is the most important point which I would like to discuss whenever you are adding author's name. Because if you are adding author's name wrong, what does it mean? Let's say for me, it means you don't know how to add author's name. Then what do you know about research? Right? So this is fundamental thing. How much research you did is one story, but whether whatever research you did you can able to successfully deliver it or not, that's another story. Okay, so author's name must be properly written in the form we discussed. Then publication name means the journal's name. And if the journal's name is, let's say, some people have thinking that, okay, some journals are online journals, so they are coming in this section, or another section will talk about that part. But if the journal is online or producing paper print, how many journals are producing paper print nowadays? Very few. Most of journals are online. Okay, so whether journals are online or producing paper print, whatever, if any journal are having volume number and issue number, that means it's called journal. So this is journal name. That means if you are publishing something in Curious, you cannot put it in peer review online publication. That is not peer review online publication. That is a one of the journal. One thing is different: how impactful it is, how prestigious it is, what is the rank of the journal. That is a whole different ball game. We are not talking about that, but that is journal. That is not online publication. So publication name means journal's name, and anyone, whomever is having volume and issue, all are comes under journal category. Some people are having publication online last year or this year in January, February, March, but they do not have page number or issue number, because journals are taking time to produce those numbers. So it will be in online first category, if you have heard about. Then if you have detail of volume, you can write it there, and then you can write it in issue online first if issue number is not given to you, right? And whatever number of pages your manuscript contain, 1 to 5, you can write it temporary 1 to 5. Most of the article published on PubMed, they are online first for 3 to 6 months. If you are having Elsevier, Springer, BMJ, NEJM, those type of prestigious journals. Okay, so there you can choose online first anywhere. Now, what is volume and what is issue? But that is a basic concept people don't know. So volume means how old the journal is. Every year one volume will change. If my journal is 10-year old, I will have this year 10th volume. 11th volume means number of the year the journal is old. And issue means in every year how many frequency journal is publishing their outlet. So that's it. For example, if one journal is publishing every month, then issue will be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12, right? If they are publishing bi-monthly or bi-weekly or quarterly, depend on that, issue will change from 3 to 12. 3 to 12. Now whenever you are publishing your work in conferences, and they publish online, and I have seen people submit their work in AHA conference, they put it here, title, author, publication name, though it's AHA conference, and they put it in poster, they write it here circulation, because yes, of course, AHA article published in circulation. You do not have PubMed ID for, because it's not manuscript. They will have volume, but issue, they will have it something like this: S either supplement 10 or S10, the name of the issue, right? That means it's not 10th number issue. It published in October, but it is supplemental issue. So I will say, okay, it's a journal abstract. It's not article. Okay, you can put it here. There is no problem. But you put it down and up, it's going to create same impact. If you are submitting in poster in AHA, I will have idea anyway. Whatever goes to AHA in poster, all comes to circulation anyway. There is no other question, right? So that volume you will be adding 12 in bracket 10. So journal is 12-year-old, volume will be 12, and issue is 10. Whatever is in the bracket is your issue. Whatever in bracket is your issue. You will be adding page number. If it's electronic page number, you add E203, let's say, then you put E, okay? Month and year. And PubMed ID, can you see that PubMed ID is not asterisk? PubMed ID is not asterisk, means that does not mean you need journal which publish always in PubMed ID. PubMed is just a library, right? And your publication, consider your publication as a book and PubMed as a library. So that does not mean your book is available in all library. Make sense? So if my journal is in Elsevier and Elsevier is having indexing with PubMed, they will put PubMed ID. If they're having indexing with Scopus, they will have Scopus ID or something else, total 12 plus direct 12 plus medical search engine. This type of search engine exists. Like we are having Google Chrome, we are having Safari, we are having Internet Explorer. So same way in research, we have PubMed, Scopus, Google Scholar, all those index, SciIndex, all those index are there. So if you don't have PubMed ID, it's not mandatory to add. People are emphasizing, no, my research is research. If it's PubMed ID, it's having PubMed ID. No, it's not like that. Okay. But if you want, you can write DOI number if you want to. DOI number is very long, so sometimes you will not fit into the here, but then you will add only that last forward slash DOI 10 slash 2 3 4 5, that last few digit you can put it in DOI if you want to, but there is no meaning. I mean, no need. People understand. Program director or anyone who is interested in research, they won't ask you, okay, okay, show me what is the proof, where is that thing. They will ask you what was the aim of the study, what was the objective, what is the finding, what is the advanced directive or take home message from that research, how you are going to implement that finding of that publication into future. Those things they are going to ask you, right? This is peer review journal article and abstract. So whenever, this is one example, whenever you are submitting, this will be like a title. You will be adding title here, last name, comma, first name, dot, comma, last name, comma, first name, dot, comma, until you reach to last, and then you put end. Okay. Journal's name you will be putting. If you are having PubMed ID, put it. Volume, issue, page number is not assigned. You can write online first here, and you can submit it. Okay. Let's go to the another section quickly. So there, and once you will save it, once you will be saving it, it will be showing like this. For example, this was the project, right? So you will be getting all the author's name, title, for example, then journal's name, year and month with 3 character. If you are having volume and issue, you can put it. Otherwise, you can put dash dash. It will come as dash dash, and it will come as eprint, EPUB ahead of print or ePrint, whatever. Different journal has different names. Some journals put EPUB ahead of print, some put online first. Depend on whatever name they are giving you, you can put it, right? Still, can you see that PubMed ID is there because it's published on PubMed, but still they have not assigned volume or issue or page number. That's okay. That's completely understandable. If it is assigned after through 2, 3, 4, 5 months, they will put it here like this, 10, 20, and like this way, right? Page number. So this is volume. In bracket, you will see the issue. This is page number. This is page number. Okay. And as I mentioned before, if you do not have PubMed status, that's okay. People write journal's name, and they're having a lot of space. Can you see they write DOI number? They can write DOI number if you do not have PubMed ID, right? So let me go back here. Here you are having enough space. If you want to put DOI number here, you can put it. Even here, small DOI, last few digit, you can put it here too, anywhere, if you are not having PubMed information. So though in this paper, whomever wrote it wrote the full, but you can put this much is enough. This much is enough. Rest of it's enough to identify article. Rest of the thing you can easily Google and you can get it. Okay, makes sense. So this is about peer review article which is already published, and now peer review article which is not published but you have submitted. So this is going to be same. Article name, title, authors will be same. Publication name is your journal's name. Publication status. Now that is important. They are having 4 status. One is submitted. You can put it if it is submitted category. After you submit, it takes 6 months in order to get acceptance and denial and multiple denial or multiple acceptance, major acceptance, major changes, acceptance with minor changes. So many things are there. Finally, it will be from submitted, it will go to provisionally accepted. Provisionally accepted means accepted, but you have major changes to do it, and then they will accept it. So provisionally accepted, and then they will go to accepted, and then after it accept, it will go to in press, and once it will be in press, you will be getting all those documentation and everything is ready, and then they will publish it in online first, and then it will go in a publication section. All publication will go in a Google Scholar. No matter it is Scopus, these, that. Google Scholar is very easy index to get it for all journals. So every journal, a good journal, not a shady journal, every journal is having their this thing, Google Scholar information. So this is the whole process. So depend on the process you choose, and these 4 processes are covered in this section. Submitted, provisionally accepted means accepted with major minor corrections. Completely accepted. In press means it's accepted, but now Springer is making editorial draft before it published, right? So it's in press, and then online, and then these 2 category will go in a previous section, which is published section. Okay. So this is going to be super easy. That's not going to be problem. So here you can see the submitted. There is no change here. Only the change you have to choose depend on which category your article is. So that's why I always recommend my student to keep it like, don't lock your CV until last moment. Why? Because this status will be changed all the time. Sometime it happen, if something right now is in press, within 2 days, it will go to the category number 1. And if you change from category 2 to category 1, your publication will be deleted. So you have to do whole hard work again, or you have to save it somewhere and copy paste somewhere else. So that's why we recommend students to do it at the end moment. Okay. So some of the example of other than submit, this is all submitted other than published. So there will be no volume, no issue, no nothing will pop. Simple, straightforward journal's name will come, and whether it's submitted, accepted, and those category will come. Now I recommend even students to make their own CV always, so that they can update these all categories. They can cut and paste from this category to that category. So from your own personal CV to ERAS CV, because if you match this year, that's great. If you don't match this year, next year whatever is here will go to here, which is here will go to the previous category, right? So you just have to cut and paste from your application, so you can track it. And the only thing after your USMLE score and degree, which is publication, that will be with you for lifetime. Once you are having published or published author, it will be on Google Scholar, and that account will be there from your residency to fellowship to assistant professor to associate professor. Every single level you will be requiring this thing. So why not to keep a track from very first day? Okay, so that is important thing. Now poster presentation. As I was mentioning other day, poster presentation, whenever you are typing poster presentation, these categories are self-explanatory now. Self-explanatory. Now event meeting is something you need to change, which is event meeting means which conference you are submitting. Whenever you are writing association, American Heart Association, scientific session, annual meeting. If it's annual meeting, write it full with initial capital thing. By the way, in title, before I forget, I have seen people are making all these lines, all these words capital, all this capital. No, this should not be capital. Only the first character is capital. This emerging treatment possibilities. So you do not write ETPOSDU everything capital. No. And you also cannot write emergency in capital. No. It looks so bad, and that is not your MLA or APA format. That is not your either of the format. So do not make that mistake. Yeah, here you can write JMV. Okay. SNCCM, all those capital you can put it, but you cannot put. So that's why I was showing you multiple example. So this is good, but this is, can you see, this is not good. This should not happen. This should not happen. Okay, we are not capitalizing each word. Only the first letter is capital, nothing else. So this is a good example. Let's go back to our conference section. So conference section, meeting name, you are going to write American Heart Association annual conference, let's say, or SGIM, Society of General Internal Medicine, or American Academy of Family Medicine annual meeting. If it is occurring virtual, you can write it virtual or digital. If it's AASLD liver conference digital, they have digital name, some has virtual name, some has online name, whatever. If you want to write it, write. If don't want to write it, don't write it. Country, depend on country, you'll be choosing, even though you are not going that everything is on Zoom, it is asterisk. Because of COVID, they are not going to change their software, right? So you'll be writing their name, state, whatever state, if conference was planned and cancelled, but some of the new conference has not given state name, city name at all. In that case, you can write the place of the foundation is located. If you go to Society of General Internal Medicine, though the conference is, let's say, virtual, but they are going to have it in Alexandria, VA, right? So the same way, American Heart Association, though the conference is online, but the committee is located in Denver, Colorado. So you can use those address. But if you don't use that address, it will not let you pass. Now, month conference, whenever you are submitting in conference, it will take like 6 to 8 months from submission to conference to take place, right? In that case, people are asking, should I add this month of submission or the month when conference is going to be held? The conference, if it's going to happen in April, May, June 2021, write that date, write that date. Sorry, that month. The month should not be, this is not a submission, this is not a submission month. This is a month of the conference when it is going to have. Now the question is, then what is the meaning? They said, oh, but that means I have not presented yet. Yes, you have not presented, but that is why people knows that once you submit, it will take 6 to 8 months. That's why only this section is having a forward dates for 1 more year. So you can change year to 2021 and still it is good here. They will let you do that. Okay, so submission place will be conference name. If it is virtual, you write it. If you don't want to write it, still people understand that. Whomever will take your interview, all people will know that. City and month where institute is located, AHA's location is there, Lever's location is there, SGAM's location is there, everyone's location is there, right? So those things you can mention in your CV. Okay, now one more thing. We'll take Q&A, by the way, once we finish this quick thing. Let me. So the month and year, you must know now that it will be the month and year of the conference itself, not when you submitted, right? So again, this section is self-explanatory. We cover it. Conference name, let's say American Heart Association, American Stroke Association. If you wrote it one time, someone is having 15 publication in AHASA. So first time they are going to write this, and second time they are writing AHASA, completely fine. And the name of the meeting, right? Now, if it is not virtual, if it is virtual, still you can write wherever it was going to happen or wherever the location of that institute is. Okay, so they write it, and let me see the example. Okay, we are having an example. Yeah, so let's say this was the example, right? AHASA International Stroke Conference 2021, Denver, Colorado, USA. Now my question is, you have given option whether you want to write, because the name of the meeting is like this, ISC 2021. You can keep it like that. It's completely fine. But if you don't want to keep it, anyway, February 2021, you are writing it, right? So if you don't want to do it, then you can still do it like that way, 18th annual meeting of AMA Research Symposium, and you are going to write it anyway, the month and the year anyway here. So it is up to you. No one will hang you for that mistake, right? That's not mistake. It's depend on what you want to write. Both things are clear. People who is very freaked out, very perfectionist, they ask such question that should we write here or we are writing there. You can keep it both places. There is no question for that one. Okay, now this conference is not going to happen, let's say, but still we wrote it Alexandria, VA, because that is the location of SGIM, right? AMA Symposium is also virtual, but AMA office is located Illinois, Chicago. So we wrote it that because without that they are not letting you complete the thing. Exactly similarly, American Association of Study for the Liver Disease, that conference is Liver Digital Experience this year, right? But the institute, AASRD, is located in Alexandria, VA, then you are going to write that one. Okay. But once the conference is not virtual and in place, then you write wherever it is going to happen. I'm just telling you, if it is online, what to write. Okay, oral presentation. Oral presentation and poster presentation is exactly same. And some people are asking me, I had one project presented in oral presentation, but it was in my school. It was in my school. Can you write it? Answer is, if it is your annual, if you are MSCR, Master of Science Clinical Research, PhD or MPH student, and it is annual day, if it is annual day of your research or research symposium day or something, which is either event and meeting, yes. But if I did public health and I have 13 classes in public health, and each classes I have to present two, which is 13 into 2, 26, there is no meaning. Those are my homework. Anything, any science which gives you new finding, that is called publication or research. This action of oral presentation is not created for the homework. So if you presented, let's say, sickle cell disease in somewhere, yeah, if you are presented in grand round, write it because it's achievement. But if you are presented during your rotation, that's not oral presentation, right? If you want to write that thing, I'll show you where you can write it without creating unnecessary burden or creating unnecessary issues. So oral presentation, this is one of the another example. Okay, so this will cover that part where you can write it such homeworks or such small project which was not presented in event or meeting. Okay, now peer review online publication. Now you will be asking me, some people was telling me Curious is online publication, so I said no, it's a journal, it's having volume and issue. Peer review online publication are the publication which comes online or which comes either through peer review or non-peer review, but it's not having volume and issue. It's not having volume and issue. In that case, you can describe that category in peer review online publication or non-peer review online publication. Both categories are same. Peer review online, peer review, non-peer review online, peer review online, non-peer review online. Both categories are same. Title, author's name, URL link, HTTP URL link, and publication date. Only the difference between peer review and non-peer review is, in peer review, your peers or your mentors, they have one team, which we call it editorial and reviewers team. That team will sit, team will judge, team will grade, and then it will be online or in journal. So that is called peer review. All conference, good conference in United States, they all are peer reviewed. They send the document, all the abstracts, we grade them. Grading will be out of 10 or out of 100. You give the comment, that is peer review. Peer review. Non-peer review means a blogging, or I'm the owner and I have my website and I'm publishing it, right? So that is non-peer review, where none of your review, none of your article is going to graded by your peers or your mentors or your senior or your junior. Directly it is getting acceptance. So non-peer review is having less value than peer review, but still it is a publication for your residency point of view. Okay, and because we are talking about peer review, non-peer review, I'm just going to quickly show you one example how it look like, so you will not make mistake. Okay, so let's say this is one website, and I'm going in a one website's this journal. This is not editorial board is not assigned. Editorial board is not assigned, and even though editorial board is not assigned, we are having option to upload that document here. We can divide into abstract, introduction, discussion. So you can say, is it a shady publication? No, it is not a shady publication. But is it getting approved by some other third party? No, it is not approved by third party yet. Okay, so you are blogging, a tremendous amount of blogging, you are doing it. There is no one who can say that you cannot do it or you can do it in this type of places. What you need is, you just require this website link. Now if this become peer review, you put it peer review online publication. If it is not peer review, you put it in non-peer review. But it has track, right? It has HTTP link. So anything which is having HTTP link, on which you can click, it will take you to somewhere, and someone will see your article. That is a legitimate place. That is a legitimate place. But when I talk about peer review, non-peer review, some people ask me, Okay, then why should we submit something in peer review online publication or peer non-peer review online publication? Why? Or if I'm submitting, it's shady journal. It's not shady journal. Your work is not that great. It is not getting acceptance to any journal, and that's why you have no other option. The rule, according to me, is publish or perish. You publish it or it's useless. All work is useless. So either you will send it to start with the NEJM, then JAMA, then Lancet, and then go down, 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 down. None of the journal in US, 3000 journal, international journals are there. None of the people wants to take your work. Then you will go somewhere where you can get easy publication, right? So that's why it's you who choose those journals, and there is nothing wrong. No one reached to from 0 to 100 straightforward. Everyone start from such non-peer review work. This type of journal, this type of publication, blogging houses, medias, those will help you to sharpen your writing skill, to sharpen your thinking skill. So the people who are not having certification courses, master courses, they are not trained in research, they all start their career from those type of thing. So they will go from bottom to top slowly. But the people who are having some experience of research experience working with the specialized group, in that case those people can aim for directly little up, they can skip those steps. But still, if you want to improve your writing skill, those are the best place. Wherever Saturday Sunday, even though today if I wish on Saturday Sunday I have 3 hours, I take any topic and start writing on it, because it will improve your writing skill, complexity skill, like how you are going to think on that, how you are going to argue on any topic. Those skill it will improve by doing multiple times this type of article or practicing more on such article, right? And it will help you to go to the higher side of journal basically. So peer review online and non-peer review online, both are online, which is having URL. Only difference is one is having graded by peers, one has not graded by peers. That's the only difference in peer review and non-peer review. Okay, now scientific monogram, some people are having particular to experience scientific monogram and peer review online book chapter. If some people are asking me, Paul, there is one company I forgot, the Pulse or something. So those are book chapter according to me, but they said no, that's Pulse State. Pulse State, for example. So Pulse State is a good example of a book chapter. It's having editor, it's having publisher, it's having page number, everything, everything, everything. Even PubMed ID they are giving it. But some people says no, Pulse State is not a book chapter, it is online publication. Again, whatever you did it, that is your work. You put it in book chapter, you put it either of that category. Importance is program director should know. Program director should know you work something on that. That's it. It's not important here. It's not things to fight why it is peer review book chapter compared to why it is peer review online publication. Both are same. If you have written very well, even though it's non peer review, people will read and then praise. Okay, that is great. Like, so importance is, if you are having name of the book, some people are getting opportunity through their mentors when they are research assistant or postdoc fellow to write a chapter or co-author a chapter in a book, in a big book. That is the exact same example of this category, where you will be having book name and books ISBN number. You will be having both. You'll be having publisher's name. So for example, if I am talking about any book, every book is having title, right? Sorry, every book has a chapter, whatever chapter you are contributing. Chapter, let's say multidisciplinary approach of teleneurology in COVID. If someone is writing something on latest gadgets or devices or some artificial intelligence, so chapter is a small 5-10 page of chapter. It has title. The name of the book, you are always going to have it as a part of that chapter. the book is having, let's say, 15 chapter, each chapter is written by 15 different author, and those 15 author have their own assistant or volunteer who can help them. So that book's chapter and their ISBN, book's name and their ISBN number you are going to write. Editors means who is the chief or editing person of that company. Let's say Lupin company is having their own editor. We are having Elsevier company, their own editors. We are having it. Springer Nature, we are having it. Those people publish their books. So their editor's name, you are writing it. Publisher's name is the company's name. Let's say Springer Nature, right? Or Elsevier. So those are the publisher. Walter Coover. So those are the publisher's name, but the owner, not the owner, I can say the person who is handling editing process, those are editors. Okay. Page number, country, state, and city, that's all you are having it. If let's say Springer Nature, people have concern that if the book is published international market, whatever office they're having it in United States, choose it, because nowadays all publishers have offices in major part of the country, I mean of the world. India, they're having it, one Asian component, Chinese component, they are having it here in United States. Britain, they are having it in some part of European Union. So you can choose any of the offices. Okay, so that will be your book chapter. Most of you may not have book chapter or monogram. That's okay. It's not that important is there, but it's not that important which category you're putting it. So if it's up and down, that's okay. Now other article. So these are the article which you people are talking about, that okay, I had attended conference that Indian Association of Medical Council, or probably Osmania Medical Council, or Osmecon, or Epicon, or those type of small conferences, and those are not peer reviewed. Those are not online. Those are not even offline. We don't have proof, but we have certificate of that thingy something, or we have like kind of homework type of project which we publish under the ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, or those things. Go ahead, this is your place. Whatever you want to write it here. This is the most last section before your achievement and last section of the publication. You can write all of that. Are they asking any proof of online HTTP? No. Are they asking any name of PubMed ID, these, that? No. Just title of your other article, just title, author, and publication name. Publication name means whether you publish in Apricon or you publish on Osmecon, or whatever small place or big places you publish, and publication date. They are not going to ask you the detail. They will trust you, or they will ask you the finding. Okay, so that is all about our publication section. Here we are winding up this section and error, and we can start taking your Q&A. I'm having some of the questions that hi, I like to join. Anyone, if someone wants to quickly ask question, unmute themselves from left side. I'll let you unmute. You're having disturbance. You can type probably if you're having disturbance. Anyone else wants to unmute the mic?
I had a question about Stat Pearls that you were mentioning earlier. I had published with them, and it's published on their website. But it's still, I contacted them, and they said that it's going to take about 2 weeks to get published in PubMed.
Right.
So my question to you was, the first one is my PubMed article, is it a book review? The second question is that
go ahead.
The second question is that is it what do I write in PubMed? Do I write published, or do I write about to get published?
So okay, Stateful, as I mentioned, according to me it's a book. Okay, but according to them, when I was talking with the editor, they mentioned that's like a kind of short notes. They are encouraging you to write on rare topic. Make sense? So you can either write it in online peer review. It's a peer review, by the way. So online peer review publication, you can write it in that section. If you want to write it in a book chapter, there is no need to wait for PubMed ID. You have their editor's name, right? The good fellow, his name, you can write it. StatPearl is the company of the publishing house. They have publishing house too. So all detail, whatever you require for the book chapter, that is there. You do not require PubMed ID. So still you can, so it's published right now, though it's not having PubMed ID, but is it published or not?
It's published on their website, and they've provided a link.
Right.
But when you press that link, it doesn't go to the PubMed link. So I contacted them. They said it'll take about 2 weeks, and then if you press that link, then it'll go to their website,
makes
PubMed
sense. So
website.
put it in either book chapter or peer reviewed online article, because by the time you're submitting and your review, program director will download the application, will read the application. It will be those 15 days anyway finished, right? And now what do you think? In downloaded application in paper form, I'm going to click? No, right? So I'm not going to click anyway. So what I'm going to ask you, tell me more about that chapter. Simple. So you can definitely write in either of that category. And PubMed,
Thank you so much.
PubMed is merely one bookstore. It's not necessary that all books should be there. So PubMed is collecting the information of all journals. But for that, there are some rules that journals should be 3-year-old, having regular reports, good journal repo, everything. There are some rules. So it's not necessary all the journals are there in PubMed. Okay.
Correct.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. That was very helpful.
No problem. Any other question?
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, Chandrasekhar. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. I did my post-graduation and I did the research, during my post-graduation, and it was, we had a mentor, the research, what you call program director, and we later, published as a, book, published in this, it's a part of the, we, did the research, and it's within the department we have to write the thesis. It's called thesis.
I agree.
Where this part will go, my research thesis.
That's a good question. Now that part will go in 2 different sections. Now my first question is, thesis you submitted, that you put it in preprint medium. Is it mandatory? The thesis you submit, usually all the thesis where we submit or our students submit, we tell them to put it in preprint publication media. Publication media. So by the time, once thesis is there, people will review it, people will give their comment, final draft is ready. By that time, your thesis start getting attention through that preprint media. From there, you publish it in some journal. Right. So if the thesis is not published in journal and you already submitted in preprint, you can still put it in published category, in that first category. Right. But if you have not submitted that thesis anywhere except your department, which may be within India, there is no record of department. Nowadays, many institutes are having departmental affiliation with those preprint media houses. But if not, then you can put it in other section.
What section I can put it?
The other article section, the last section, other. Because that's the only section which is not asking you proof in form of number, proof in form of link.
Okay.
Right. That is one part where you write it. So usually, let's say I was involved in few clinical trials, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, right? So those clinical trial is not going to publish, or if it's going to publish, my name will not be there because I'm just merely the research assistant there, right? So those all clinical trial and all those information which you are having probably paper proof, you are not having other proof, put all the thing in other article. Because from there you learn maximum number of things, right? Whatever I learn from literature review, systematic review, or observational study of national data, I'll learn much more from clinical trial compared to that. So those things must be going there. And also you can put it in research experience section, where you will be adding your detail of mentor, their affiliation, your position, and description that what type of study it was, what finding you got it, and where you submitted those finding.
Okay.
Okay, so 2 section you will add that part.
Okay.
Okay. Any
Thank you.
question, guys? Yeah, OJ.
Hi, Dr. Patel. I have one question.
Mhm.
While working as a research clinical coordinator, I did an educational video on COVID, and it was published on university's YouTube channel. So can you please give me an idea where I can put that in my CV?
Because it's having link, you can put it in non-peer reviewed section.
Okay.
Or because you said it's on Mayo Clinic. If I'm having YouTube channel my own and I'm publishing anything randomly, that will not go there. But because if it is on university website, that's why you are. So you are not putting YouTube channel's link. You are going to put that university's link. Okay, number 1.
Right.
And number 2, you can also put that part in your achievement section, that this is opportunity which is a little different than other students. Not always everyone is getting it.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Other achievement. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
OG, you said you have submitted and approved a dissertation in your postgraduate institute. How can you explain in your CV? So yeah, all dissertation and thesis you can, if you have submitted in a preprint media, all dissertation, like I did my thesis in MPH, I had dissertation, and we had preprint media. So we submitted, then it's having submission, acceptance, all those standard preprint, like other journals are having it, exact standard protocol. So you can put it in category number 1, peer review article published or other than published. But if you do not have proof, then it will go in a peer review publication if you have HTTP link or other category, because all dissertations are peer reviewed, always peer reviewed. The problem is that if it's not online, you do not have HTTP link. So then in that case, you have to put it number 1 in other category, and number 2 in your research experience category. Okay. Any more question, guys?
Hi, Dr. Patel. I have one doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So the thesis which we did in our post-graduation, can that be added as a research experience?
Yes, that will. Thesis is always going in research experience, but if it is published, then depend on where it published, you can put it. If it did not publish, not all the time thesis can able to publish, right? So if it is not published, then you can put it in other category. Like
so if it's published, you can put it in a published category and also put it in a research experience.
Yeah, research experience, you can always put that part. Always research experience will have that part. So that is different category. That's why I said research experience is the category where you can explain whatever you want to and whatever skill you learn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.